Please call the roll.
Mr. Butler?
Here.
Mr. Kruger? Mr. Metzler? Here. Mrs. Talley?
Here.
Mr. Unati?
Here. If you would please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
One that's on the agenda.
Yeah.
Is it coming off?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because I don't want to prove that.
Okay.
Yeah. Which one is it?
It is Becky Brinkley.
Are there any additions or deletions to the agenda, please?
Yeah, we're going to have one change to the agenda on page under certified staff, number 3. We're going to remove Barb Boer for a unpaid leave. So we're going to remove that from the agenda.
Okay, thank you.
And that is it.
Okay, with that being said, I'll need a motion to approve the agenda.
So moved.
It'll be Ms. Talley
I'll second.
and Mr. Butler. Mr. Roberts, if you would.
Mrs. Talley?
Yes.
Mr. Butler?
Yes.
Mr. Metzler?
Yes.
Mr. Unati?
Yes. Motion passes 4-0. This is time for the presentations. I'd like to call Mr. Paulsgrove and Ms. Izzy Jackson to the microphone, please.
We'd like to thank the board, obviously, for acknowledging Izzy's accomplishments. This is Izzy Jackson. She's an 8th grader here at Canal, Winchester Middle School. This winter, she had the opportunity to apply for and wrestle in the basically the first ever middle school women's wrestling tournament, and she went 5-0 and became our first state champion in Canal Winchester wrestling history. So a big congratulations to her. She was dominant on the mat. Absolutely, just dominant. Izzy is a football player, wrestler, and track and field athlete, 3-sport athlete, on a roll, well-liked by her peers, nothing but rave reviews from her teachers, including myself. She is the model of what we hope all Indians to represent. So she's been great. We're looking forward to a very bright future for her with a lot of accomplishments as well.
Oh, fantastic. Congratulations. You have a certificate of your accomplishment for outstanding performance and achievement in the 2020-21 OAC Junior High School Girls Wrestling State Championship. So congratulations. How about we get a quick picture? Alder, you can hold this. Yeah, we're good. We don't think it's very long. We're on ready?
Yeah. Great. Awesome.
Awesome. Congratulations, Ken. And you, are you in band too?
Oh, yeah.
She's in band also, folks. That is fantastic. What else do you do? Okay, I see that you're doing a heck of a lot right now. But congratulations, everyone. That is fantastic.
Parents are back there, so the whole family came.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Congratulations. Great job. Izzy.
Thank you.
And special congratulations to Izzy, because that's as we know, personally, it's a very tough sport.
It is.
Okay.
Mr. Butler knows that.
Yeah, I was gonna ask her how long she's been wrestling, but she's.
Oh, wait a minute, Izzy. We got just one quick question for you.
I'm sorry, I was gonna bother you because I'm like a big wrestling fan. and
Mr.
coach.
Butler is a big wrestling fan,
So you know, I wrestled in high school, a little bit in college. So how many years have you been wrestling? Okay, so you've only awesome. So you said you won a state championship your second year in wrestling.
Yeah.
Awesome. So let me ask you this: I know they have a high school state championship. So are you planning on continuing to wrestling next year in high school?
I am.
Awesome.
Good
That
for you.
sounds like-
Good for you. Here,
It
here.
sounds like you have a bright future ahead of you. So I always like to hear those good stories, especially about wrestling. So that's awesome.
Thank you.
good job, Izzy. Yeah.
I would like to just real quick give a lot of credit to our head wrestling coach at the middle school who's coaching baseball right now. But Sean Cassidy has really embraced our female wrestlers, bringing them on. We've had 3 2 or 3 the last 2 years, varieties of weight class, and so they've gone and competed at against other boys in the Central Ohio area and been dominant. And then, at girls' events, we send them to as many as we can so they can go against their peers. So our head coach has really done a great job of embracing that co-ed idea of wrestling. So I just want to say that.
Awesome.
Great.
So, congratulations.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming out.
Okay, our second presentation will be Students of the Quarter.
All right, well, thank you, Mr. Unati. As you know, every year we recognize students who have gone above and beyond in the classroom, and so this is the third recognition of the quarter for the 2020-21 school year. It began 13 years ago as a way for the Board of Education to recognize students who demonstrate their best, be it academically or in terms of school citizenships. Many of our students are recognized in other ways at the individual buildings, and Student of the Quarter is just one more way for the board to say thank you to parents, students, and staff at each of our buildings for such excellent effort. So we're going to begin tonight with the high school. Mr. Kirk Henderson, building principal, will recognize the high school students of the quarter.
Good evening, thank you. Our academic students of the quarter for 9th grade are Sophie Hughes and Talmadge Knowles. 10th grade, Jeanette Martinez and Murad Rabadi. 11th grade, Emily Avery and Skylar McNeely. And 12th grade, Tennille Rubens and Robert Moss. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
As normally, we have a nice certificate for them that they will pass out in the building. Especially after Mr. Henderson goes, wipe it down. All right, at the middle school recipients, we will have building principal, Mrs. Kelly Zifchak. Sorry, Kelly, come on up.
It happens all the time. All right, students of the quarter from Canal Winchester Middle School for 6th grade, from Team 6-3, Braden Gray and River Whitworth. From Team 7-3 in the 7th grade, Colin Bullard and Caroline Adams. And 8th grade, Team 8-3, Chris Reed and Ellie Bruni. Congratulations to all of them.
Thank you, Mrs. Zifchak. Now we'll go on to Winchester Trail. Presenting would be Principal Mr. Max Lawlathan.
Good evening. So Winchester Trail will be acknowledging the recipients for Student of the Quarter for grade 3 will be Alex Perez and Ella McBriar. In grades 4, Mamadou Sam and Tessa Gilbert. And in grade 5, Pacey Lowe and Julia Shemp. Thank you.
Good job.
And last, Indian Trail Elementary, Principal Eric Riddle will be presenting.
Good evening, everyone. For kindergarten, we have our winners for the third quarter. Student of the quarter are Kellen Hasley and Presley Juniper. First grade was Orion Jackson and Heba Dariad. And second grade was Julia Adams and Weston Amos. Thank you. Congratulations to everyone.
Again, congratulations to all the students, to their families, to their teachers. When you get nominated by a teacher, you are definitely going above and beyond in the classroom, and that's what this award is all about, especially this year being in hybrid and now coming back. So the kids truly are working hard, and it's just one more way to recognize and say thank you and keep up the good work. And looking forward to the last one, which will be in June. So we'll wait till June to do the last student quarter. But congratulations to all the kids and their families. Great job. Thank you.
Okay. We'd like to call Mr. Lawlathan to the microphone for his presentation, please.
All right, good evening once again. Winchester Trail is going to be presenting tonight on behalf of Winchester Trail, Mrs. Emily Adams, proud mama. 2 of her students were just recognized for Student of the Quarter. She has volunteered to talk about what we're doing with Project Lead the Way at the Winchester Trail, specifically in grades 4 and 5. Emily?
All right. Good evening. Like Mr. Lawton said, I'm Emily Adams. I've been in Canal, Winchester for 19 years. The last 4 years I've taught design time. In the fall of 2019, we were awarded a $10,000 grant to Project Lead the Way, which was funded by ArcelorMittal, which is a leading mining and steel company. They have satellite operations in Obetz and Columbus, and that's how we were able to apply for that grant. As you can see, we have our expenditures listed. There's an annual fee every year for Project Lead the Way launch. It's a preschool through 5th grade curriculum. Every teacher that teaches that needs to be trained and credentialed in that. I went through that training in June of 2020, right when we went down for COVID protocols. It was all online. And then just last month, I did Project Lead the Way launch lead teacher training, where I can train other teachers in the area to become Project Lead the Way launch teachers. Project Lead the Way launch really aligns with our Portrait of a Graduate. Specifically, the module that our 4th and 5th grade students are working on right now is called Input-Output in the Computing System. Excuse me. In this case, they are trying to solve a problem. At the beginning, there's an introduction story where the students talk about how they're going to, they have to sit and wait for the bus to come. So they make a digital game. So they're using collaboration skills and problem-solving skills to solve that problem. District-wide, we have many Project Lead the Way courses. At the high school, they're pathways. At the middle school, they're gateways. And preschool through 5th grade is the launch courses. The launch curriculum, like I said before, there's 43 different modules. I specifically just showed 4th grade that we were working on this year is the input-output. I've done 4th grade with the 5th graders as well to keep everyone kind of on the same page with our COVID protocols. Doing this input-output is a good coding part, not as much hands-on, I guess. Project Lead the Way launch uses an APB approach. It's activities, problem, and project-based. They have an introduction story, 3 activities that build on to help the students solve the problem and the project. Again, this is just my classroom teacher training, and then I had the launch lead teacher training. The course overview, as I stated before, there's an introduction course, 3 activities, a project and a problem. This specific one, students need to create a digital game. They're using a program called Scratch, and some of you might be aware of that. It really is engaging for the kids because they can be very creative with this coding. I've used code.org in the past, and it's more, I don't know, they're just not as creative. This one's a little more creative. Here is a picture of our students this year doing our introduction story. As you can see, we tried to follow all our protocols that we could. The first activity was on machine inputs and outputs. Students had to identify, they had an interactive activity where they identified how the human senses are similar to the inputs and outputs of a computing system. On the left-hand side, you'll see a student work of coming up with their icy or their slushy machine, and they had to identify the inputs and the outputs. Every student got to pick which machine they wanted to do. We have an internet safety activity that the students do. That way, when they are coding and when they are putting anything on Scratch, they know how to protect themselves and keep themselves safe. Activity 2 here, students had the opportunity to write their name in binary code. They got the chance to find and see how taxing it can be to write this code, but also it kind of gave them a secret language, so they got to be a little creative and have fun with it. This student is working on what's called image representation. She's doing run length encoding, where all of the black and white image is saved as a binary code with bits of 0s and 1s. In this picture, students are working on Scratch tutorials. They have the opportunity to change a sprite, and a sprite is the character that you'd see on the screen for the game. They can change the background, they can add sounds, they can add other things with it. I've used Scratch in the past with students to draw food webs and food cycles and to make any kind of literature like summaries. And finally, our last thing that we're doing, we're finishing up the school year with this. They're doing a coding project. It goes along with the introduction story where they had to come up with a digital game, making up their own digital game. There's clicker games and Pong games and things like that on Scratch that they do a tutorial with. And then the last part will have a game time where they're going to do they all get together, they'll pair program and make their own games using the criteria and the constraints. So, that's the end of that module. That's how we're implementing Project Lead the Way launch right now. Next year, we'll have some other things. There's infection detection. At the middle school, there's the biomedical detectives. There's quite a few of the Project Lead the Way launch that builds right up into our pathways and our gateway. So, does anyone have any questions?
What grades are able to access some of these pathways and stuff like that? Are you guys starting at the very younger age, or what grades are you typically in?
Currently, I teach 4th and 5th grade.
Okay.
The Project Lead the Way launch is available to preschool through 5th grade, that curriculum. So the availability could be to anyone who is trained and credentialed in it. And since I do have lead teacher training, I can train other teachers in our building if that's what we'd like to do for the future.
Fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
So is this open to any of your?
Yes, it's one of the related arts. It goes with art, music, and gym.
Okay.
So it's one of our 4-day rotations.
Okay, wonderful.
Excellent.
All right.
So,
Okay.
well, thank you, Ms.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for coming.
You know, it fits with everything we're trying to do, empowering our kids for success. The portrait of the graduate goes with our STEM. It's just not science, technology, engineering, or math. It's more about strategies that engage minds. Now, again, that came from North Carolina. I can't take credit for that one, but still, this is what we're trying to do to build at a very young level. So by the time they get to the high school, they're going to have those experiences and they can really go further with it. So, Emily, thank you again. Great job.
Thank
And
you.
congratulations on your kids tonight, too. That's awesome. Yeah.
And now's the time to plant that seed for this. Their young minds are amazing. Okay, the fourth presentation will be the CWLS Virtual Arts, and I believe we'll have a presentation online digitally or
Well,
back.
I will talk about it. As you know, every year we normally have art up there, pictures or ceramics or something that's going on. The art teachers came up of a very creative way to display art. This way we could have a lot more artwork up there. That's all QR code. So if you were to go up there with your camera, turn on your camera, just put it up there, it will send you to a link, and there are a couple videos that will, each one, there's one for the high school, one for the middle school, or 2 for high school, 2 for middle school, but it is absolutely cool. So please, when you get a chance before tonight, go up there, use your QR code, and it just, a lot of different things that artworks from our kids. We have very talented kids in here, just hard to display them all. So this just gives us an opportunity to have more kids, to show more artwork for our kids and the great work that our teachers are doing along with the students. So
Awesome. Good.
I think they have it up online where they're going to put it online too, where people can have access to it also.
I think that'd be awesome, especially I know a lot of times the parents come in here and they physically take pictures of it, but now it's nice that they can show it off and have access to it anywhere and everywhere they want.
Can they download their students' pictures online?
I think that's where they're going to go with it, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
So hopefully that'd be something that we can
If
kind of
not, we'll
incorporate
look into that.
Good.
in the future. So when we have them come in, we can incorporate that in there too, so they'll have access to it no matter where they are. They'll
Right.
just come into this building, so it's awesome.
It is awesome. Cool idea.
Okay.
So congratulations to all the kids who made the first virtual art show gallery.
Very cool.
Okay. Cool. Okay, the fifth presentation will be the 2021-2022 high school experience.
We are going to start with a video that we're going to pull up here first. Yes, this one's the one.
Did we have that, excuse me for a second, did we have the link for Sarah Henderly
Yeah.
on there?
That
I didn't think
gallery?
we had that, I'm sorry. Okay, so why don't we talk about the art gallery? I Yeah.
This?
Yep. So go ahead, click on her art gallery presentation. Sorry, folks. Sorry, Sarah.
Oh, I guess it's just I can't read that, sorry. I don't know that. Just hit play there in the center.
Yeah. Yep.
Yep.
Virtual art gallery. Instead of our traditional boardroom display of selected student art, as you can see in the back of the room, we have matted and framed QR codes that lead you to virtual galleries for each school. Our interactive gallery will also be showcased on the district website from April 12th through April 30th. There is a gallery for Indian Trail students with Mrs. Eckelbarger. Winchester Trail has a gallery for Mrs. Cordell and Mrs. Hinderley students. The middle school students have a gallery with Mrs. Trogus. And there are high school galleries for Mrs. Helser and Mrs. Pearson students. From the district website, you can use your cell phone camera or a QR scanner to scan the QR code that you see here. Or you can just simply click directly on the links to view the work in the galleries. We hope you enjoy viewing these selected pieces and they provide you with a glimpse of what our students have been creating. Our CW students are talented and we look forward to sharing more art in this virtual style in the future. Thank you.
There you go. On the website, click on a link where you use your camera. And it's up there. It's pretty cool.
Yeah,
It's very cool.
good job.
And thank you, Mrs. Henderly, for putting that together for us. All right, sorry now.
That's okay. So we're going to start off with a video. It is a 22+ minute video. However, Mr. Sattler told me that we had to cut that down a little bit. So we're just going to show the first 5-ish minutes of it. And I think once you see it, then I'll explain a little bit more about, why we put it together and what's to come.
Start your own business.
Go to trade school. Join the workforce. Enlist in the military. Go to college.
Hi, my name is Kirk Henderson. I'm Canal Winchester High School principal. We're so excited to share with you our new schedule for next year. It's going to give our students a lot of opportunities. The schedule is going to allow our students a lot of flexibility to help them actualize the 3E of their choice. 3 E's are enrollment, enlistment, or employment. Everything we do incorporates at least one of the 6 competencies of the Portrait of a Graduate, whether that's being a respectful citizen, problem solver, being self-aware, a responsible learner, collaborator, or a communicator. Additionally, the Portrait of a Graduate skills will give each of our students a digital portfolio to take with them when they graduate.
I'm really excited about all the learning opportunities that Canal is offering students moving forward. As an English teacher, I had the chance to work closely with students as they were going through the scheduling process, and it was so encouraging to see how excited and motivated they were, and they felt really empowered by the ownership that they had in being able to build a schedule that fit their needs. So that was really nice to see. I think along with that, since this past year has been very challenging for all of us, it's kind of stretched us beyond our comfort zones. I think it's garnered, though, also the confidence that we needed to be able to move forward in non-traditional ways and know that we can be successful.
It is a big positive for me because I can kind of choose what classes I like to take and choose how I take them. So I'm very excited, yes. It will raise morale, definitely, because you can choose kind of what you want to do, and I think everybody's going to like it.
I believe a positive is students getting to tailor their learning to what best suits them. A lot of kids know what they need and how they work in certain situations and what stimulates their learning. So I believe that is a very huge benefit to the kids.
The positives of being able to build my own schedule, I see with not just myself, but other students, as it really helps to make sure that you are getting information the way that you learn best.
I think building my own schedule gives me the flexibility to create what type of environment that I want to surround my work around. And some classes I will take as block classes because I need a lot more help in them and more time to just study overall.
Being able to build my own schedule next year will help me as a student because it'll help me be more productive in my life outside of school with having a job and extra curricular activities.
Having a flexible schedule allows me to grow in the future.
It allows me freedom for what I want to do. It allows me to explore things I might be interested in.
I say it's a benefit to me as a student because it allows me to navigate my time, manage my time, but it also gives me the freedom to be able to know what I can do and also know what I can't do. So if I ever need help, I can use that to my advantage.
I like that we get the flexibility to choose which one. There's three, you get three options. That's a lot. There's a lot of variance in your schedule that you can choose from.
You get to build your schedule how you want. So maybe you're a person that likes to take math later in the day because you don't want to do it first thing in the morning. Or if you're a person like me who likes math, that's the first thing I want to do when I come to school in the day. It really allows more student choice. And if we're kind of doing this high school redesign and planning for the future, I think allowing students more choice is really beneficial to them. And it also helps, give them more responsibilities in the school.
Thank you. And in order that we're going to stop it there for time purposes, but we are going to release this whole video to you all and to the community and to parents and students. We're going to have it on the website because it does help to explain, the reasons why we are moving to this new schedule, flexible schedule for students. We are having technical difficulties with the video, so we will have it out hopefully by the end of the week. We're also looking to put a Q&A together, so as questions come in, we're able to answer them, that everybody can see, some of the reasons why we're doing what we're doing. We have, students have selected the courses that they have wanted, and for many courses, they were allowed all three options. For some, they were only allowed maybe two options, so online block might have been an option for English classes. For science classes, they were mostly block, some online and some single. Moving into math, a lot of single, few block, few online. So it just made sense. We talked with our teachers throughout the last couple years, but really focusing on this year on, how are your students going to learn best? How do you feel that you can teach the material best? So really relying on our experts to make those decisions on their content and allowing students to then have choice. One thing with this video, I think you see the excitement from several kids, that they're excited that they get to maybe make their own schedule or have options. We do, this is our goal, is that in a few years, that's how kids are able to access the curriculum and the content. However, we're new to it. So we might have offered, let's say, single block and online, but due to numbers, due to selections, we might have to minimize that once we look at the total courses. And that's what we're doing now, so that once we, hopefully in a couple weeks, we're ready to start building the actual schedule based off of, what courses and how we're going to offer them. So we just wanted to, number one, show the video to you and to the community, to parents and to students, so that that you can get some idea of how this came about and why it came about. We're very excited for this I guess, I don't want to call it a movement, but kind of the movement of this new school experience. And we do believe that it will prepare us for the 3 E's, which we've talked about now for, that was another thing I believe that we borrowed from another school district, but it really makes sense for preparing students for their future, whatever that may be. We're hoping with the new schedule that it builds in flexibility. We're not quite, we don't have everything ironed out about how that's going to look, but there is flexibility in the schedule to allow for students to have internships, allow for students to work if they feel that they need to after getting their classes done. I think somebody on there said, you know, it allows me to maybe go to school in the morning and then get out a little early to go work. It'll also allow us to work with our students to solve problems for both the school district and the community. So with the Lean Six Sigma program that we went through, just when there's a problem, it doesn't, I mean, we don't always have the answers, but our students are able to communicate and work together and collaborate, just use critical thinking to solve the problem. So we're hoping that we can really build that capacity within the new schedule.
Very exciting.
Now, will you have an opportunity like for our freshmen coming in, or is this more geared towards our juniors and seniors, or is this going to be across the board at the high school?
It will actually be for all students.
Okay.
However, just based off of the classes that they take, it does tend itself, you know, to weigh on the junior, senior
Gotcha.
courses. We are hopeful, and, you know, Kristen Ankrum being our internship coordinator, work-based learning coordinator, she has many of titles. But one of the things when we brought her in, our goal was to ensure that every student, whether it be by their junior year or by their senior year, have an experience of some kind with an internship, with mentoring, with shadowing, with working, with community service, so that they're able to access and find out, is this really what I want to do before I go and spend, you know, maybe thousands of dollars in a college experience when I learn there. So we're hoping to be able to allow students to have the access to that experience, whether it's a great experience or whether it's like, yeah, there's no way I'm doing this. I think we can learn a lot from that as well. And we are still having the 9 tribe. So we did have to take a year and kind of step back from that with COVID. But we are very hopeful to, moving forward, we're going to be able to put that in play again next year. And those teachers will be able to be flexible with the schedule as well within their own team.
Yeah, I really like the idea of that flexibility, and I think it helps students to, or it encourages them to really continue on, play an active role in their learning journey and be compliant with the curriculum and everything. My question is, are students able to receive like advice from an advisor or counselor to help them make these decisions?
Yes. So there was a video put together by the high school that the students watched, and then they would schedule within their classrooms to be able to ask questions if they want. The counselors made themselves available for questions, and just reaching out and talking with each of their teachers. So if I'm a math teacher, I should be if a student comes to me, I should be able to give them, you know, my opinion on what courses they should take. So absolutely, we had people, you know, our staff that were available to answer those questions.
Yeah, because I can certainly say, as a college student, it was kind of hard to determine what route you wanted to take, and, you know, you change your major several times. So I can imagine being in high school, you know, kind of maybe not really knowing what your strengths are or knowing what is best, what you think is best for you.
Absolutely. And that's one of the things that we really talked about when we were talking about the redesign, is that especially a lot of these classes that are higher level, AP, CCP, double block classes that maybe are outside of the traditional meeting of every day, that we will have something built in for these students so that they can really have access to this probably higher level college credit class, but yet we'll have safety nets. So if you're not doing well, we're going to be there to help you. Unlike sometimes, not every college, but in college you're on your own. So really, we truly are preparing students for whatever it may be that they want at that next level. And the college level, one thing we kept hearing, and we want to say, we know that COVID forced us into this year. It was nowhere near being the perfect scenario. I don't think anybody, if we went back knowing what we know, we would do everything the same. I think we always learn. But one of the things that I do think it did for some of these students, and when you watch the full video, you'll see they they found that they can do things that they never thought they can do. They found that they can learn, even though maybe they didn't have, they weren't sitting in the classroom and gathering the information, but it was their responsibility to get it. And as well as our teachers. I think we talked a lot about the teachers last year when we talked with them about, are you ready to make this move? Are we ready to go in this redesign? And we had some teachers that said yes, but we had some that were hesitant, like I see it, but I'm not quite there yet. Then we came back in the fall after a couple months doing what we were doing, and they're like, we can do this. We 100% can do it. We know we can do it better than, with some education and training and having the experience, but just being forced into it, I think, has really allowed not only our staff, but our students to see that, yes, they can do it. But we're going to definitely put safety nets in place for some that are trying, shooting for the stars.
That's great. Sounds great.
Good.
Exciting.
Thank you.
Thank you. And moving on to our last presentation, CWEA.
Thank you. I would agree with what Crystal and Kaya said. When we started this year, after we were out last year and we started this year, we thought, oh my gosh. But I think we've all learned so much. I mean, the kids we've all grown, our support staff, our cafeteria staff, our bus staff, our maintenance staff. I think we've all really worked together to make this year pretty successful for the kids. My students are doing amazing. I'm so proud of them. So I guess I should introduce myself. I'm Jody Clamfith. I'm a reading intervention specialist in Indian Trail, and I'm the past president of CWA. And I have a couple of things to share with you here, some highlights of things we're doing. At Indian Trail, we received a grant for a storybook trail. And this is going to be at the Westchester Park off of Dietz Drive. The students have partnered with the City of Canal, Winchester to create this. The students read books at different themes and the grade levels, and then they voted on their favorite book. And so they're developing some extension questions and activities to go with each story. So the first story is going to be up in May. So as you go through the story, you'll go, spot by spot through the trail, and you can interact with the book, you can read the questions, and you can talk about the book. It's a really nice family activity. So the city has helped us with that, and it's going to be great. So look for that coming in May. Second graders in Mrs. Roberts, Mrs. Hazelbaker, and Mrs. Schlarv's class have always done a wax museum project where they study a famous character, they do a report, then they dress up and make a presentation. Well, they're not really able to do that now, so they're doing a video clip of their characters, and I'm sure that they'll probably be able to show you guys some of those. In 7th grade, our English language arts students are working on narrative writing by making their own children's book. They're doing the entire thing online through a program called Story Jumper, and they also have the opportunity to bind this book and actually get a paperback book. And the teachers are really excited because they found out that they're enjoying reading picture books again. It's not just for the little guys, it's for all ages. And they're using their critical thinking skills to write their own book. So those are just a few of the things that you probably don't hear about that are happening in some of the buildings. So hope you enjoyed hearing about those.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Moving on to section C, the public comments. Is there any need for public voice?
There is not.
Okay, well, at this time, I would like to make special mention of something that happened at the Westchester Golf Course. There was a community gathering for the reopening of the Westchester Golf Course and some other things. Todd Phillips and Mrs. Phillips led the student steel band, and it was, quite frankly, it was amazing. I was working one of the refreshment stands, and I couldn't get to dance very much, but it was an amazing performance, and it's always Todd and his wife and the rest were just amazing. So I want to shout out to them. Okay, moving on to D, executive reports. Let me turn the page here. We'll have the treasurer's report. Mr. Roberts, please.
Thank you, Mr. Hinati. Good evening. Mr. Watson, if you don't care to go to the first page of the financial report. We're kind of in the final stages of the year. We're really only waiting, not the insurance report, up the insurance report. Really only waiting on a couple key financials from the revenue side that come in. We got our real estate tax in this month, slightly up over what we were projecting. Some of that's going to be due to the timing of payments. As you know, you pay the first half and then you pay the second half. I think there was more people that paid in the first half. Still kind of analyzing that. Waiting on income tax. We collect 1.1 million. Then we're going to be right at where we targeted. Last year we collected just over 125. So in each of the first 3 quarters, we've received more than we did last year over year. So it's encouraging that that we're going to at least meet or exceed what we were forecasting, which is very significant during the pandemic year. If you want to go to the next page, the year over year gives us more perspective. So you can say real estate tax increased 484 year over year. Tangible personal property is also up 78,000. Income tax, so we just said, is up 2.5%, 97,000. I expect that to be at least that, if not up a little bit higher than that. Unrestricted has come back. The state gave us the a little bit of the cut back that they did last year, and we've received a little bit more through special education, transportation, and things like that. So we're getting either or closer to break even. Restricted is almost exactly where we were last year. All other revenues is up 370,000 thanks to TIF payments. Last year we collected about 850,000, and this year we collected 1.5 million. Again, that's a lot due to timing of when these taxpayers pay the TIFs, because we only have about $900,000 on the books for TIF payments. So I don't know if some of them were behind on payments and caught it back up. So there's a lot of that. So I do think a big chunk of that is timing. But overall, revenues are up just almost 2.1%, or just over 2.1%. So in a pandemic year, overall, very, very, very well done.
Mr. Roberts, got a question. Lines 1, 2, and 3.
Yes.
Is that trend just here at this local district, or is it the county? Is it statewide? I mean, that with all 3 of them being up that much, it's kind of unusual, isn't it not?
It is, but if you remember, our property value went up just over $80 million. That was a record for the school district. And no, it is. Central Ohio, as you guys know, is a booming market for real estate right now. So as long as the houses keep turning and there's development that keeps happening, which does not seem to be any slowdown in that, the values are going to continue to go up. I know the Franklin County Auditor has a House bill out that he wants to see some of these housing areas be kind of exempted a little bit more. But my question to him would be, why? If houses are not sitting on the market, and really nowhere in Central Ohio is that the case, to where a house sits on the market for longer than a month or two, so why would we try to offset the market values? That's kind of where we got to where we are now, where we've seen the big significant spikes over the last couple of years, because the property taxes with the auditor's values weren't keeping up with what the market was for the last 10 years. So they had to play some significant catch up. So I don't think we want to get back into that again, to where we kind of hold back the auditor's value when the markets are still booming in Central Ohio. That's not going to be the case everywhere in Ohio, but right now the Cincinnati area and Columbus area are booming in the state. Income tax wise, I just think it's a testament of how Canal Winchester continues to grow. I think the houses and the new homeowners bring a lot of stability to the district. Back in 2009, when we had the Depression, we still kind of grew in our income tax. We never really saw a stabilization or decline. So we've shown in 2 different instances now that we can kind of hold off a depression, which is, I think, a testament to really the population in Canal Winchester, and then I think the housing market. I mean, when you're building 200 to 300 additional homes per year, give or take, that's adding income. there's some additional jobs, I think, in Canal Winchester that's adding a little bit more wealth. So, no, it's definitely not everywhere that income tax and property tax continues to grow. Now, I mean, to get that increase, it took $80 million of valuation increase, which isn't going to happen very often. Now that the market's Otter's values caught up with the market, we're going to probably see a lot less progression in those rates. But the good thing is we continue to lower, not just as a district, but as a taxing entity. Just a couple years ago, if you lived on the Franklin County side in the Canal Winchester School District, your millage was $90. So you're paying $90 per $1,000 assessed valuation. This year that's down to just under $73. So we're heading in the right direction to give our taxpayers a little bit of fresh air away from taxes. And hopefully we can, I know that our school district has that trend, and hopefully the other entities are kind of following suit to kind of let our tax rates keep declining a little bit over the next several years. And get kind of back below the market average in Central Ohio, and then it gives us options later on when we do need the money. So it's kind of a very fortunate thing right now that we are financially stable and strong during a time, during a pandemic. So when there is a time later on when the economy's stronger, we're going to be able to actually go back out and request new money and feel good about it, because we're going to actually needed at that point. So hopefully that's years down the line. We have a very prospering forecast. We continue to show that we're strong. Expenditures, you can see that we're doing really well. Purchase services salaries are only up 2.4%. Big piece of that is we did move some salaries into the federal funds, and we have done some different things to kind of offset that. Purchase services down just over $1 million. A lot of that $600,000 was where we paid our lease payment, but still our purchase services are still down $400,000 year over year.
How much is making that lease payment early? How much does that wind up saving us in this district?
Saved us about $140,000, if I remember right, on interest. A big piece of line 3.03 and 3.04 that are down. You have to keep in mind, our bus fuel is way down, our substitute costs are way down, our maintenance costs are way down for bus and for the buildings. So the hybrid online schooling really saved us some money in certain areas. I mean, we had to spend a little bit to get curriculum going online, but we saved a ton. Like electric or utilities are down almost $100,000. It was just less people in our building. So every little thing that kind of happened this year has allowed us to kind of see the $400,000 savings in purchase services. Now that's not going to be a norm heading forward. I would expect certain costs to really increase. For example, special education transportation. With most of our students being at home, we didn't have to pay for private services to transport some of those students. That's going to come back. Costs at some of these places have went up because they lost business, so they're going to have to increase costs to try to get back to where they were. But luckily we've got some ESSER CARES funds to help sustain and get us through some of those things. There's some pretty good groundwork being laid to get a formula back in the state. It's looked like it's got through the Senate and onto the House, or through the House and onto the Senate. So hopefully they make some progress on that and get a formula back, which would benefit us and a lot of other school districts. So there's a lot of good things. I say all the time, this district's sitting in it's almost a perfect situation that you possibly can be financially. But that's come with a lot of planning and a lot of things that we've done, especially in the time I've been here in the last 5-6 years, that we've worked hard to make sure we have these things in place to be able to sustain and not have to go back to the taxpayers on a regular basis. And there's really no sign of that in the immediate future. We'll have the forecast update next month, but I think you can kind of see just through this March report to kind of where we're headed on what the forecast is looking like. So a lot of good things. Any questions on the financials? If you have questions, just send me an email or call me. I know it's a lot of information. But anytime you see a lot of black in the revenue and red in the expenditures, those are two good things.
And then that last transfer out, that's kind of wrapping up the construction projects and all that stuff. I see the very last line there.
That's for the permanent improvement.
Okay.
Permanent improvement money that we set to the side to, we have to get buses to do roofing projects and things like that, to where we can set money aside, and when those projects come in the future, we don't have to hit the general fund for those dollars. Now, we did pay the last piece of our high school renovation project, I think last week. So that'll be closing down. We were under budget, so that's good. We'll be able to put some of that money back into other projects, as we have already kind of started to do. So, like I said, we're sitting in really good spots from just about every financial place you can look, from food service to athletics to general fund to, I mean, you can almost go right down the board with it. We've set ourselves up in a good place financially.
That's good to hear.
Still solvent.
That's all I have.
Okay. Yes, we're solvent, yes.
Okay, following that wonderful report, we'll have Mr. Sattler, please.
Well, thank you, Mr. Yanati. Good evening, everyone, and welcome to our viewers. Just a couple reminders and updates. This is the start of the 4th week of our 4-day school plan. Just want to remind everyone that starting on May 3rd, which is 2 weeks from today, we will be going back to school 5 days a week, and we'll do that through the end of the year. It's hard to believe it's going by very fast right now. However, it was very exciting to see the buildings and classrooms full of students again. It was almost like the start of school. Going around to the buildings and just talking to the kids, to the teachers. So it's a good feeling knowing that we're on a path to getting back to some type of normalcy for our students, for our staff and family. Although we're not out of the woods just yet, the end is getting closer for us. We're going to continue to follow our health and safety protocols, masking, social distancing as best as we can, washing hands, cleaning protocols. And as always, we will continue to work with our staff. On that same note, we do have the COVID vaccination eligibility for our high school students that are 16 years and older. And so I think tomorrow or Wednesday is the last day to sign up for it. We currently have 74 students sign up for the shot. The first shot is this Friday, April 23rd, and the second shot is on Friday, May 14th, and it is the Pfizer vaccine. So students, if you want to, parents would like their students to have that shot, sign up for it by tomorrow or Wednesday, because they'll be here in our building doing that for us. So that's another good thing. Also, we have it set already for the high school graduation. It will take place May 29th, 9 a.m. at World Harvest Church. Right now, it's 5 tickets per family. That's in accordance with the guidelines with the governor, with the inside venue. Again, everything we're talking about now will change if new rules and regulations come out from the governor. So hopefully they'll loosen that up a little bit by the time we get to the graduation ceremony. But we will have a traditional ceremony, 9 o'clock on May 29th at World Harvest Church, like we did before. So that's another positive. We had our prom last weekend on Friday. Things went well. And so trying to get back to some type of that normal schedule for our kids, which is a good thing. All the spring sports are going strong right now, doing well. Of course, we're supposed to get snow on Wednesday. But anyway, this is April weather in Ohio, so what else? Now, I have been asked by a lot of community members about the high school, the renovations, and are we going to have an open house at some time so people can at least come in and see it? And yes, we will. We will have that sometime August. However, I had one of our teachers do a little drone video of the new renovations and additions. Kevin, if you wouldn't mind bringing that up, if it's available. And we will have this on our website too.
Cool.
So I'll kind of talk you through it as we do this. So it starts at the main entrance. And this will be available for our community to see on our website. This is the new entrance coming off of Washington Street. so, which is actually the front of the building. And this is all done by our drone. Nathan did this. So this is our rotunda with the big CW right in the middle. It's pretty cool.
That's my favorite.
Yeah, I know, that's my favorite
love
part
that.
too. That's awesome. This is the new Student Learning Commons. Used to be the office, the old office. So this is where the old office used to be. It is now our Student Learning Commons, and you can tell we have social distance with the X's. This is the Library Learning Commons, which we had available last year, or the Media Center, for those that might not know the LLC. Here's Mrs. Clark. Hi, Mrs. Clark. And so this is actually, this hallway that you're going down was the outside of the building a year and a half ago, or 2 years ago. So that's a brand new hallway, which now this is our new supplemental gym, which we had open since last February, March. It's a great area. And this is the new, one of the new classrooms. This is where our esports club is doing their participating. We're playing. So, pretty cool classroom space. New stairwell that was added in going to the west wing. And we didn't have a bathroom upstairs before, so we now have a restroom upstairs in the west wing, which is nice. We added on space to the cafeteria. So the far back side where the windows, that's all new. So from the columns back is brand new space. This is the office area, which is fantastic. Love the office area. So this is the new office area, which used to be the old media center. So this is where the media center used to be. And now it is the office area. So all new flooring. Walls are painted. This is the art wing. And used to be, this was parking lot space before. So now this is that new addition on the back end. New classrooms, divider. So you can have a large room or a smaller classroom. New desks, new chairs. I don't know if you saw, we have the high top chair or desk and chairs too. Pretty cool. 4 breakout rooms right across the hall from the large classrooms. And there you go. A quick 3-minute video just kind of tells you, gives you a little glimpse of the additions and renovations for the high school. We'll have this on our website, and we will do an open house sometime in August, hopefully. So
That campus certainly has changed over the years.
yes, it has. Yes, it has. So that's all I have tonight. If there are no questions for me, remember, make it a great day or not. Choice is yours. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Sattler. Moving on to district reports. Do we have any questions or comments about any of these?
And if you do, we have people on call, so we can call them down to come and answer
Yeah,
any
they're
questions you
upstairs
have.
somewhere, yes.
I would like to make
At least I hope they are.
I'd like to make a quick mention about the first lacrosse game on Mike Locke Field at the new stadium. Happened last week. Mr. Sattler was there. I was filming, and it was a wonderful exhibition for our kids.
Yep. Great experience, great time.
Next year, I know you really are a big advocate of lacrosse program. So next year, is that when we're going to roll it out at the high school too, or are we still going to wait another year or two?
You know, that's a decision that Mr.
Okay.
Durbin will have with the
Okay.
coach to see what direction we want to go into, but it's going to be here.
I know
yes.
we've been
Whether it's next
transitioning
year,
in,
yeah.
so middle school is officially, we're on the ground running now, and it seems like it's really taken off, and the kids are really liking it,
So absolutely.
awesome.
So
Yeah, and the young kids are our future, needless to say, but they're awful good athletes in that bunch. Okay. That being said, moving on to the consent agenda, I need a motion to approve the agenda, please.
Second.
Dressler and
Second.
yes.
All right, thank you very much. We'll start with number 1, the minutes, and those were from the March 15th meeting. For number 2, we have donations. We do have several donations from the Lions Club to each of the buildings, and then also the athletic department and the music department. And we have a donation for the Gene Scholarship from Mr. and Mrs. Steve Starr. So thank you to everyone for those donations. Much appreciative. Number 3, certified personnel. The first bunch you'll see there is resignations. We do have 5 resignations. And we have 1 request for a leave of absence. Under stipends, you'll notice that we are approving for the junior class advisor, as well as the senior class advisor and a faculty manager. If you recall, this year we didn't approve all of our supplemental and stipend positions because of the nature of the year with COVID. And so the junior class advisor is in charge of prom, and then the senior class advisor is in charge of graduation. So that's why you're seeing those approved now for this year. Under stipends, we're asking you to approve a $1,000 stipend for serving on the Grow Your Own committee for this year. We do have 7 teachers who have been working on that committee, and that committee will also become our DICE committee, which is Diversity and Inclusion Committee for Equity. We have requests for extended days, and these are additional extended days. We approved some extended days back in summer, and with these positions, with the high school counselor and middle school counselor and the school nurses, they used all their days early in the year. And that was something that we did expect because of them working with the scheduling, with our nurses working on COVID protocol. So this is something we expected. We finally looked at where they were going to be at and what they needed to finish out the school year. And then you'll also see under certified the teacher recommendations, we are asking you to approve the 6 new staff members here. And you'll notice in the other column, these are all due to either resignation or transfers. Moving on to number 4 is our classified personnel. We have several resignations. I do want to make note of one, which is a resignation for the purpose of retirement. Paul Armentrout, who is our head maintenance, he will be retiring effective January 1st of 2022. And Paul started with us in '92, and he will, once he retires, he'll almost make it to 30 years. So we are thankful for his service to the district and wish him luck on his retirement. And moving on, you'll see classified recommendations. These positions here are due to the fact that we've come back now from hybrid learning to all in, and so we have needed to add the additional paras that we did not hire at the beginning of the year. So these would be resignations that we did not put into place because we did not have all the students in place. And number 5 is our supplementals. We're hiring 2 volunteer coaches. And that is all I have for the consent agenda.
Okay, do you have any questions or comments about the agenda? Oh,
It's always said, and I'm sorry, underneath, you'll notice underneath the classified recommendations, you'll see an internship classified recommendation. It's on the top of the page, and it's to approve Mark Ranieri to serve as an internship in the Treasurer's Department. I apologize, I skipped over that the last time as well.
So, Ms. Hunt, are you done? Just checking. Any questions or comments, please? Okay, that being said, Mr. Roberts, will you please call the roll?
Mr. Metzler?
Yes.
Mrs. Talley?
Yes.
Mr. Butler?
Yes.
Mr. Unati?
Yes. Motion passes 4-0. Moving on to action items. I need a motion to approve the first action item, which is resolution for graduation.
So moved.
Mr. Butler
Second.
and Mr. Metzler.
Okay, so basically this has given us flexibility, every school district in the state of Ohio, flexibility for graduation. So you have your normal track, but we know because of the pandemic that we are in, things are a little different for some students, so it helps us be flexible with these students. Basically, there are two new graduation pathways. One is for a curriculum-only pathway, so if you're not passing the traditional way that we have put in place with passing our credits and passing the state test, there are curriculum-only pathway. Eligible students may qualify for graduation if their principal, in consultation with their teachers, counselors, determine that students have met the district's curriculum requirements. So that's one pathway. This is a new one. And the second one is curriculum requirements and Ohio Mean Jobs Readiness Seal. So students may qualify for graduation if they complete their curriculum requirements and earn the Ohio Means Jobs Readiness Seal. So it gives another two pathways for our kids to meet that. Right now we have right around 20 kids that are possibly not on track, or they're not on track to graduate. Now, they could be by the time the end of the school year comes, but right now they're not. So this might be an avenue for them to move forward, to help them out. So it just gives us flexibility during this pandemic. You know, we don't want to penalize kids that, you know, because of decisions that were made from outside of, you know, from the top on down to us. We want to make sure all kids that at least we're looking at different ways to help them move on to the next level. So, you know, it's just not a gimme. They still have to earn it, and there's still meetings going on. But it just gives them two extra pathways to meet that goal. And so there's a lot of information out there. We can spend a lot of time on here. If you go on ODE website, it has a whole section on graduation pathways. You could go ahead and read that. But we've been working with we'll be working with the students with this, with the counselors, the principals, to make sure that we're doing the best for all our kids.
Yes, and in the chaotic environment, this is just another way to get there.
Correct.
Any questions or comments from the board? So, Mr. Roberts, if you will, please.
Mr. Butler?
Yes.
Mr. Metzler?
Yes.
Mrs. Talley?
Yes.
Mr. Unati?
Yes. Moving on to item number 2, athletic facility equipment and its purchase. I need a motion, please.
So moved.
Mr. Messler,
Second.
Mr. Butler.
Okay, if you recall, last month, Mr. Durbin was here talking about the athletic training facility and the upgrades that we would like to make to that facility. We come back to the board with a cost not to exceed $175,000. He has a plan in place, and we're ready to roll on it. So this is very exciting. And the money will be coming out of the Permanent Improvement Fund to pay for this, and then, of course, once we get the interest money from the
project.
we'll reimburse that count. But right now, this money will be coming out of our Permanent Improvement Fund. So this is a good time. That facility's been there for a while. The equipment is older, so we got to take care of all the buildings in the district, and this is just one of them. So Mr. Durbin is here if there's any questions about the facility, about the training center.
Little humorous side note, the first weight room, which we put in 1979, was we spent less than $500. It came out of powerlifters funds. It's kind of ironic and kind of neat in a way.
Times have changed, huh?
Yes, so they have. Any questions or comments, ladies and gentlemen?
Nope.
Mr. Roberts, if you would.
Mr. Metzler?
Yes.
Mr. Butler?
Yes.
Mrs. Talley?
Yes.
Mr. Unati?
Yes. Okay, moving on to item number 3. This is for the purchase of 2 buses on an ongoing basis, and I need a motion to approve this. Or
So moved.
Beat me.
okay, that would be Ms. Talley and Mr.
No,
Butler.
second.
And any order?
Okay, this is just our normal routine. Every year, we like to purchase 2 new buses. Our fleet is getting much younger.
Yeah,
It's
the
getting
average
better.
is going down, which is nice.
Yeah, it's very nice, but we still do have some older buses still out there. And so I'd like to purchase 2 new buses for next school year.
I've been around long enough to remember when the bus acceptability was very, very poor, and we had almost a crisis in the buses, so this is a good thing.
Yeah, it is.
I think my first year, my son was in kindergarten. We had to get all the buses from everywhere, and you were like, I remember the first time I really heard Mr. Sottler was when he was calling me, telling me like, don't worry about the delays on the buses. So it's kind of nice that we've gotten into a regular cycle of replacing our fleet. So it seems to me like we're on track to keep on keep on upgrading our buses. So then we now find ourselves in that position anytime in the near future. So that's a positive.
And it's nice, all the bidding is done with the Meta Purchasing Co-op, so we are getting the best deal on the
Excellent.
buses too, which is always good.
Good. Any other questions or comments? Okay, Mr. Roberts, if you would.
Mrs. Talley?
Yes.
Mr. Butler?
Yes.
Mr. Metzler?
Yes.
Mr. Unati?
Yes. Item number 4, which is the private tuition contracts. It's for students that are also educated outside of Canal Winchester. I need a motion to approve these, please.
So moved.
Mr. Metzler?
Second.
Ms. Talley?
Okay, thank you very much. We are, this is for the 21-22 school year to approve the students that are in the program now for next year too.
Good. Anything from the board, please? Okay, Mr. Roberts?
Mr. Metzler?
Yes.
Mrs. Talley?
Yes.
Mr. Unati?
Yes.
Mr. Butler?
Yes.
Motion passes 4-0. And the last item would be Workers' Compensation Program. I need a motion to approve.
So moved.
Mr. Butler?
Second.
Mr. Metzler?
This is to participate in the group rating with the Bureau, Workers' Compensation. You have a couple different options. This right now is our better option. You get a certain group rating that you're in, and you get that discount up front. We could have did a retro to where we could have gambled a little bit, paid the upfront premium, and then a couple years from now maybe got a little bit more significant premium reduction, but it really wasn't worth the risk. So we're starting to come back. We were at 38% just a few years ago discount. Now we're at 21%. We've got a couple bad claims years that'll be falling off for the next couple years, so we would expect that to go back up toward the 30 percentile on our deduction. So, but overall, I mean, we're still under $100,000 on our estimated premiums for a workforce of this size. That's pretty good. So. We're sitting with a cash balance in our workers' comp fund to be able to cover this expense. So happy to be back in the group rating and just take the discount right out of the gate.
Good. Any questions or comments? So if you would, Mr. Roberts?
Mr. Butler?
Yes.
Mr. Metzler?
Yes.
Mrs. Talley?
Yes.
Mr. Unati?
Yes. Motion passes 4-0. Is there any need for public voice or public comment? Hearing none. Is there any need for executive session?
No, there's not.
And I need a motion then to adjourn, I believe. If there's nothing else.
So moved.
Mr. Butler?
Second.
Ms. Talley? Mr. Roberts, if you will?
Mr. Butler?
Yes.
Mrs. Talley?
Yes.
Mr. Unati?
Yes.
Mr. Metzler?
Yes.
And that concludes our meeting at 8:16.